All right, welcome out to another episode of the Pirate Code podcast. This is episode number 11. It's Wednesday evening, and we're back here again. This time we've got a coach that's going to be here with us. We're going to be talking baseball tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I have my sidekick with me every Wednesday evening, the Z-Man, Johnny Zavala. Johnny, how you doing?
Doing good.
All right. As I said, we have no athletes today. We are going to interview Coach Arturo Elizondo. He's the head baseball man here at Rockport. His team is fixing to enter the playoffs this weekend. So we're going to be talking playoffs. We're going to be talking season with him, his players. We're going to kind of get to know a little bit about Coach, where he came from, how long he's been in Rockport, and so forth. It's going to be a lot of fun. Johnny and I have been waiting to interview a coach, and we finally got our first one. So I want to introduce him now. Head baseball coach here at Rockport. I think it's his second year as the head man here. It's Coach Arturo Elizondo. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right. So, Coach,
good to be on the broadcast.
Yes, sir. And thank you very much for taking some time. I know you were at practice today. You were over out of town. So the Pirate Club thanks you for taking some time to give us so that we can kind of talk a little bit about your baseball team. It's exciting right now. They're getting into the playoffs, and we're looking forward to being out in Victoria and watching them play. So we'll kind of break that down a little bit later on in the podcast. But to start things off, Coach, I just kind of want to introduce you, ask you some questions about yourself. I know you and I talked earlier. You graduated from Ingleside back in the 90s. And so if you're ready, I just kind of like to ask you a little bit of questions so the community can kind of get to know who Arturo Elizondo is.
Yeah.
All righty.
Shoot,
so, Coach,
I'm ready.
All right. So the first question I have, Coach, was when you played baseball in high school, who was your biggest influence growing up?
Oh, my biggest influence was my dad. My dad didn't graduate high school. They moved over here from Mexico when he was like in 4th grade. And he started working probably when he was like 14 or 15. He was the oldest out of 10 kids. And all he talked about was baseball. He talked about how all he wanted to do was play baseball. And I remember being young, and they had a lot of men's leagues here, and he played. He was really good. And then, of course, he played softball and all that kind of stuff. But my biggest influence with me and him is I just learned the game from him. We would watch a lot of baseball. Back then, Turner Broadcasting was the Braves and the Dodgers. And the Braves and Dodgers was free on TV, or the Braves were free on TV. And so I didn't like the Braves. I couldn't stand the Braves. But I was a big Dodgers fan, and I just was born and raised that way because of my dad. And so I know Johnny loves the Braves. So I had to throw that in there. But, growing up, I saw Dale Murphy play, Bob Horner, those kind of guys from the Braves. And then, of course, the Dodgers just had Pedro Guerrero and Steve Sachs. And I grew up with just watching them play the game. And I loved baseball, loved it. I'm the baby out of 3 kids. So my sisters were really good at softball. I've always said my older sister was the best one out of all of us when it came to the baseball, softball side. She could have gone and played some baseball somewhere, but they didn't have softball in high school when she was in high school. So then she was really good at track, and she actually got a scholarship at Kingsville to throw shot put and disc. So she did that for a couple of years. And then my younger sister, my middle sister, she was a stud at basketball. And just to see them and grow up competitive made me really want to be really good at baseball and other sports as well, basketball and football there in Ingleside. I graduated actually in 1996. And so when I was a freshman, I made the varsity as a baseball player in center field. Never played outfield in my life. Always played either shortstop or third base. But Coach Myron Markwart was the head coach there in Ingleside, and he liked me, and he put me in center field, and I was a freshman. And so I was like, yes, sir, I'll play wherever you put me. So I started in center field. I didn't start. There was a senior there. And the second week of practice, he tore his ACL. Wow. And so they put me in the fire, and I started in center field as a freshman, and I was scared to death. But it worked out, and my confidence grew as I got older. And eventually I moved to the infield. I played third base and shortstop for my last 2 years. And, that's where the love of the game started for me, back when I was younger too. But I just enjoyed it. It was fun.
Wow. And so would you say that your father was, of course, the guy that you modeled your game after, or was there like a professional baseball player that you kind of wanted to model your game after?
When I was in high school, our pitching coach was Wayne Stevens. And he was actually he became a head baseball coach there in Ingleside after I graduated. And he actually got drafted by the Atlanta Braves. And he went and played in their professional system straight out of TCU. And so when I was a junior and senior in high school, he would always say that I was like Raul Mondesi from the Dodgers with a good arm in the outfield, and I could play infield. I really didn't have a favorite player. I would say my favorite player growing up was probably Darryl Strawberry, just the way he swung the bat and the way he competed, and him, and of course, you just had good players all back then. And so I just love baseball. So I just loved everybody that was really good and watched them succeed. And I try to emulate them. I try to play to where I was doing the hustle awards, like, Ozzie Smith, or, I was trying to play third base like Cal Ripken, and hit the ball hard like, Mark McGuire and those kind of guys. And I just really love the game and just try to simulate what they did. So I really never had one player that I thought was my favorite. I just love baseball.
Oh, that's awesome. Johnny, I'll go ahead and throw it over to you so you can ask Coach some questions.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. If you have different words for this, what made you become a baseball coach? Did you pretty well sum that up?
Yeah, no, I mean, I started my first year of coaching. I graduated college in 2003. So it took me a while to get out of college. But I had a full-time job at the Navy base here in Ingleside. And so I worked out there through college. And at the time, I really wanted to be a coach. At the same time, I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse because I saw that you could work inside and make a lot of money. But then my passion went to sports. I just always liked sports. And so I think my last 2 years of college, I said, you know what, I'm going to go and start looking into the college of teaching and education. And so I had it. I mean, I've always loved to talk to people and inspire people. And so when that route came in 2003, I got my first job in Portland. And so I was there for 5 years, and I started at the junior high. So at the junior high, I did everything. I did football, basketball, track. In the summer, I worked the strength and conditioning. And so it just kept going through for 5 years. That cycle went through. My first year, then Coach Flores asked me to come out for baseball. He wanted me to be his assistant. So I went, and of course, it was me and Jay Seibert were the assistants in Portland. And so me and Coach Seibert were assistants there for the 4 years that I was there. Or I was there for 5, but the 4 years we were together. And then I had an opportunity to come back to Ingleside and be the head baseball coach there. And so I was there for 4 years. That was my first head job. And so I was there for 4 years, and I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed just the part of being the head coach and running your program and learning how to run a program. And while I was in GP, I learned from the great Steve Castro from Robstown. I did camps, and he was there, and I just learned how to, how you get players to buy in to your systems and to do the things that you really enjoy. And so I learned from him. I learned from Rudy Gonzalez that was at Bishop for a while. I learned from, Chapman from Cal Island, the battles that we had together when I was in Portland. And, and then you learn from the other guys, the second level of those guys, Mike Liao and Carroll, David Marcello now that's at Carroll. And then you have Lee Yeager that was at Carroll at the time, and once I left Ingleside, I just became an assistant coach in Robstown because I just love the way they played ball. And I took a job there for 2 years, and we ran with that. Man, it was awesome. And then Coach Cyber got the Rockport job. And when he called me about a position, I took it. I said, Coach, I don't need to be a head coach. I just want to go to Rockport with you. And, we had that bond. We had a relationship back when we were both coaches in Portland at the beginning. So I knew what he was bringing to the table, and he knew what I was bringing. So I just felt like I could bring that to Rockport baseball. And so for 5 years, I was Coach Jerry Howe's assistant. I was the catching coach for the first 3 or 4 years, and then I went to infield, and then I did the hitting. And then when Coach Howe left to be a principal, Coach Seibert offered me the job, and I said in a heartbeat, just like when I left Robstown to come to Rockport, it was a no-brainer for me, and I love it. I mean, it's what I want to do. It's just something that I've grown up with, and I know how to run a system, and I like it. I like being able to be in control and have good assistants, and honestly, I almost went the basketball path. My 3rd year of coaching, my basketball coach in high school called me, and he's an industrial. He's been in Vanderbilt Industrial since I graduated high school in 96 or 97. He called me like in 2005 and offered me to be his assistant coach. And I almost took it, but I knew, and he even told me the same thing. He said, Coach, if you come the basketball route, you'll never coach baseball again. And when he said that, I kind of said, man, I don't know if I can do that, and so I thought about it for a little bit, and I decided to tell him no. I turned it down, and ever since then, I've just ran with baseball.
Good. That's pretty interesting. You actually answered a few of my questions through that whole thing you said there. I was going to ask you about the situation about, when you were told about becoming a baseball coach. I wanted to know what went on there, but you pretty well explained how Seibert, pretty well tracked you down and stuff like that after he took a job here. That's interesting. So speaking of your teaching certificate and stuff like that, what is your teaching field?
My teaching field is PE, physical education. But when I was in Portland for the 5 years, I was in charge of the in-school suspension at the junior high. And so I've always had a heart for kids that don't want to be at school and kind of grow up rough. I didn't grow up in a rough lifestyle, but I do have relatives that have. And so I always bring up examples and things that my cousins have told me and my uncles that, they needed someone there to talk to them, to try to push them to go the right direction. And so my first 5 years of teaching, I did the in-school suspension in Portland, and I loved it. I didn't have no problem with it. So when I came to Rockport, or when I went to Ingleside, I became the health teacher, and I did health there for 4 years. And I enjoyed that part too, because, you can get kids just learning about the body and taking care of themselves and things like that. And I enjoyed that part too. When I went to Robstown, that's when I got into the physical education part. We did PE for 2 years. And then when I went to Rockport, I've done several things there. I've helped with the behavior. I've done, alternative programs for kids. And now I'm back in the PE system, and I'm doing PE there at the high school, and I'm still doing in-school suspension. And, I love it. I love my job. There's no day I don't go to school without a challenge from a student who needs a little bit of help. And I'll be there to help them as much as I can.
Interesting. I like that. How many years you said you have under your head coach?
This is I had 4 in Ingleside, and this is my second. Well, last year was not even a full year, but this is my sixth year as a head baseball coach.
Do you keep track of your wins?
I have it down, but
how many? I'm just curious.
I mean, I'm probably around at least 70, okay. maybe
okay,
80.
You're close to the 100. You're close to the 100.
I'm close to the 100, but I think I was like around 11 or 12. I averaged 11 or 12 a year is the 4 years I was in Ingleside.
Okay. I'm gonna pass it on to y'all guys.
All right, Coach, I know Tony has joined us, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I'm going to kind of throw it over to Tony, see if he's got a question after I'm done. But, Coach, my question to you is about last year. I just kind of wanted to go back, because if you could just talk about last year. I know it was a disappointment. I know that Rockport was very senior heavy last year. I know that I heard the talks that our baseball team was going to be big, that we're going to do some big things, right? And I actually saw last year's game at Whataburger Field between Rockport and Ingleside, and it was a battle there, and Rockport won it at the very end. And I thought, man, when they meet up again, it's going to be a good one. And then, of course, COVID hit and took the season away. Just kind of talk a little bit about how disappointing that was for you, because I know it was your first year as a head man here at Rockport with the baseball team, and you couldn't finish the season.
Yeah, it was heart wrenching. It was at the beginning when everything was going down, we were playing. We were rolling. We had gone to some tough tournaments. We had gone to Cuero, and we got to the semifinals. And if we would have won, we would have played Sinton, and we ended up losing to Cuero. But we went 3-1 there, and then we went to the Myers tournament. And the Myers tournament, you got to come with some ballers. And so we ended up playing 5 games there, and I think we ended up going 2-3. And we learned some stuff about our team, though. We learned that we were going to be really good in our district. And so, of course, we had that Whataburger Field game after the Myers tournament, and man, it was an awesome game. That's a game I won't ever forget. And my fellow coaches give me some heat, because when I get nervous, I get nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. I start hacking, I start coughing everywhere, and I'm just nervous. I pace, and so my coaches give me a hard time about it. And that game, I really wasn't nervous. I was just enjoying the moment, being on Whataburger Field, and the game just, we got ahead, and we get ahead, I'm fine, and then the game got tied up, and then of course we ended up walking it off at the end. But the thing, what happened was, as soon as that was over, everything started, talking about the year in the being suspended. So of course we went to Goliad that weekend, and we played Thursday. And of course some teams were already calling me and saying, "Coach, are you going back? Are you going to go back to Goliad and play?" We're not. Our school's not letting us go. That was Banquetti. I do remember that. And I was like, "Coach, are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we ended up playing Friday against London, and we beat London. And on the way home, that's when everybody started saying, "Coach, we're not coming back to school after spring break. We're not coming back to school," and da-da-da. And the weekend came, and everything got suspended. So of course we had that week off, and I really didn't want to believe that we would never play again for the year. I kept thinking, well, maybe they'll suspend it. I kept thinking, Round Rock, the state tournament is usually in June. They'll push it back 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Maybe we'll just go straight into District 1 round, and everybody will play 1 round of district, and then we'll just have playoffs. That's what I kept thinking. And then it just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And then next thing you know, everyone starts saying that we're not going back to school, and we're not going to go back to playing games. And, I just remember calling Coach Reyes, and me and her talked a lot during that time. And we were kind of hoping that we would be able to play, because, she knew that I had 8 seniors, and I only carried last year, I think 15 guys on varsity, and half of them were seniors. And so I felt for them. I had some players that were really looking into last year's season so they can get looked at for college recruiting. And just for the year not to happen, I felt so bad for them. To this day, I talk to all of them as much as I can, either on Twitter or just a text message or anything, just to see how they're doing, because, that's a part of their life they're not going to get back, and it sucks. I mean, and I wish the best for them, and they'll just never get that back. And I just tell them, hey, enjoy the 12 games that we played, and always remember that game at Whataburger, because, that's a game that they ended up winning, and it was on the good side. And hopefully, as long as they live, they'll enjoy that part of just being 1-0 in district. I tell them all the time we were district champs, because we were 1-0 in that game.
Yeah, that's true, Coach. I saw that game. It was a good game, and I thought, wow, it's gonna be a good season, good baseball season. And then the season was taken away, so it was a sad time, even for the softball girls. Coach, I would talk about this team. If you can just talk a little bit about this season and how this team has battled in every game to make the playoffs this year, because it's a young team.
Yeah, just going back to last year, and seeing the kids that played. Adam is at Baylor. He got his first start of the year, or no, he got an inning of relief last week. And to see him succeed. Now, I have Cass, who's just signed to go to East Texas Baptist University to play baseball. Those 2 guys right there. And of course, you have Clay, and you had Garrett, and you had Cove, and you had, Gabriel, and you had Zach Zavala, and you had Connor McMahon. Those guys, I mean, just to have those guys replaced was hard because I only had 2 kids. I went back and looked at my Whataburger Field roster, and there was only 2 kids that were on that roster that were coming back, and that was Carson Flores and John Chupi. And so when I looked at that, that was our first district game. So they were the only 2 guys that had any district experience coming back to this team. So when we started, I knew we were going to be young. I knew we were going to challenge. We're going to have some challenges for some positions. I knew our JV had done really well. I always put them in a varsity tournament, either ours or another one, just to see how they do. And they did really good last year in our tournament. And so I knew I had some guys that were coming up and that were going to compete. And so early in the season, I didn't know. I love to use my tournaments as see where they go and put people here. You know, I might lead someone off this game, and the next game I'll lead him off or put him in the 9 hole, or I'll put my cleanup in the 4 spot. Next time I'll put him in the 2 hole. I want to see who can bunt, who can hit and run, who can, you know, come up with the big RBIs in the 5, 6, 7 holes. And so we did a lot of stuff in the tournaments, but I only had 10 guys. I took 10 guys with me to the Cuero tournament because I wanted to see how they were going to do. And out of the 10 were 4 freshmen. And so we went over to Cuero, and man, they opened my eyes. You know, I know how hard it is to be a freshman on varsity because I was one of them. And I know how much pressure you have, you know, how nervous you are. You don't want to disappoint your seniors. You don't want to disappoint the team. Are you ready or not ready? And so we rolled. I mean, I did a lot of hit and runs. I know they turned 4 double plays in 3 games. And they were in some big positions, you know, first base, second base, shortstop, catcher, pitching, you know, and not only the freshmen, I had some sophomores and juniors step up, you know, and those guys started rolling and they just fed off each other. And so that first tournament, I was like, okay, now we're rolling, you know, and then we had a first district game against Port Lavaca. And of course it was a game at home, and a lot of people were there. And that kind of showed me a little bit that we might not be ready for the big stage. We might not be ready for district. We ended up losing 6-2. And then we went to our tournament and we kind of hit a little bump in the road there. We won a game, lost a game, tied a game, then won another game and then lost. But then after that, we ended up playing Miller at Whataburger Field. And for some reason, I think Whataburger Field brings the best out of some teams. You know, you get that excitement that, oh my gosh, I'm on the big stage where the big boys play, and I'm either going to show up or I'm not going to show up. And our boys showed up that night, and we ended up winning 13-0. And we rolled from there. And I'm not going to lie, we went to Goliad. We were up and down there, but I had done some things just to see how some guys could pitch. But I knew we were going to be fine. And the first round, we ended up going 4-2 in district. We went to Sinton on that last game, and we lost 1-0. And I was really impressed with the boys and how they could deal with that kind of situation playing in Sinton. You know, you want to see how it does. You know, and then of course the second round we lost a heartbreaker that same week against Port Lavaca, 3-2 on the walk-off fashion at their place. And then we rolled and won 4 in a row. And then, of course, we lost to Sinton at the end. But at the same time, that was an experienced ball club, you know. And I told my guys, I said, look, that needs to be us next year. You know, the way they finished their season, that's the way we need to finish the season. You know, and you need to be as hungry as they are to want to win the district. You know, and I even bring up the softball girls as well. I tell them, look how hungry those softball girls are. They want to finish 12-0. They want to win every game by so many runs. They want to do this. You know, and that comes from experience. You know, my team is young, but hopefully we can grow from this year and just move forward next year and the year after that.
Well, Coach, I've always said this on the podcast. I don't know if you watch our podcast, but, you know, I've always said you guys have arrived. I mean, you're in the playoffs, you've arrived. But I went to a game. I think you guys were playing. I went to Yoakum. I think it was a Cuero. You guys went undefeated. I was there for one of the games, and I said, man, this team, because I was like, they're young. I want to see if they can compete. Well, you go undefeated, you don't even lose a game. So I'm like, I watched this game. I said, wow, this is going to be a team. This team is going to be good. And I say on the podcast, I mean, they've arrived. This team is going to be ranked. Like I'm calling it right now on the Pirates, Cove, because there's talent. You have 18 players, 16 are coming back next year. I tell people, get excited about the baseball because these guys are going to do something special. You got some that are going to be there 3 more years, some 2, some next year. It's promising and it's exciting because right, you want to brag about your teams when they're doing so well. I brag about the girls all the time, but no one's told me, hey, that's enough. I mean, I'm excited that they're number 1. I want to let everybody know, right? I go to work, hey man, we're number 1, and did you see this? Did you see that? And they're kind of nice to me. I know they want to tell me, dude, that's enough, but they're nice and hey, this is a nice guy. We're not going to say this to him, but I'm a Pirate. I graduated in the 90s. Johnny graduated here. Once a Pirate, always a Pirate. We get excited and we want the community to get excited. So I think your program is going to excel. It's going to be very exciting in the next couple of years. How far can this team go? And the battles that they're going to have with Sinton. Because Sinton's young too. So next year, I'm personally looking forward to that battle between the Pirates. But Coach, I would ask another question now that we talked about those games. So I wanted you to kind of touch up a little bit on your 2 pitchers, Carson and Luke. Now, looking at the schedule, right? I went to that Sinton game. It was the first one I had gone to since the tournament. And I watched Carson pitch. And, to me, it was, against those hitters to give up 1 run and the way he was pitching it was remarkable. I was like, wow, this guy's he was in a zone, it seemed like to me. Like they couldn't hit nothing. And I said, wow, so you lose 1-0. I said, man, that's still a win for us. So then you go to the next game, we go into the second round of the district, right? And you lose that heartbreaker, Luke's pitching. You lose to Port Lavaca, 3-2. You lose it in the end. Luke strikes out 8. So I'm thinking, okay, if that win in Sinton goes Rockport's way, and then we get that win in Port Lavaca, we're on an 11-game win streak going into that final season against Sinton. What a matchup, right? But it didn't happen that way. Yeah. But it was just, it was one, it could have gone either way. Talk about what Carson and Luke have meant to this team this year and the way that they're pitching.
Yeah, they're our 1-2 punch, and in baseball, you guys know that you got to have more than 1 pitcher. You got to have, and I look at it as a 1A, 1B. It's not a 1-2. I don't say, okay, Carson's better than Luke or Luke's better than Carson. And they both know that. And I'll tell them, I'm real straightforward with them, and I need them both. And I knew last year that Carson would be able to get into the rotation. I knew that Luke would come in and just emulate what his brother could do. When you have an older brother who's in the system, you always want to be better than the bigger brother. You just want to. And that's Luke. He's a competitor. And I knew this year I was going to put pressure on both of them to compete in district because I knew what we were going to have to do. And so just having them in the system brings a little bit more excitement because now, we rank our pitchers as far as how many we have through our system. And when we started the season, we had 15 total pitchers out of 27 kids in our program. We had 15 kids that we knew that we could throw on the mound and they would compete for us. We knew those 2 would be there. So when we looked at varsity alone, we have 9. We have 9 total pitchers out of the 18 kids. Not half of the team are pitchers. And so when we looked at that system, I always group them in 3s. And so when we do work at practice, when Coach Vela does the pitching for us, and he's the pitching coach, so he does a lot of drills with him. But when he does them, we put them in groups of 3. So they compete, and they always compete. Everything's a competition with them. Who has the better changeup? Who has the better fastball? Who can hit the fastball inside? Who can throw the curveball away for a strike? So when you have that competitive nature in all of those pitchers, it really brings a good feeling to the team and a vibe. And so with those 2 at the top has made the rest of our guys even better. Ian McPherson, Trent Upham, you have Sam Mays, who's a senior who comes in and can throw, and then you have the young ones. You have Javi Vela, you have Ace Cyber. You have those young kids like that can come in and throw strikes because they know they're going to need to throw strikes because those other guys can. Makes it so much better as far as us as a program.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I love those pictures. I've seen, like I said, I've seen Carson. I was like, wow, it was amazing. That game was just a good game. He was in the zone, I think, and I was like, wow, it's some 1-0, man, against a really good and well-coached team. Says a lot for our program, and we're headed in the right direction. It's basically what's happening. Tony, if you can hear me, do you have a question for Coach Tootie?
Yeah. First, I just want to congratulate you and the Pirates for y'all's playoff berth. I know this is your first full season, so congratulations on that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about really is about this playoff game you got this week. What did y'all learn from the last game versus Sinton, or just throughout the year, that that y'all have to execute to really get this first playoff win? Like what are some of the obstacles that you've seen, some of the boys show during the game? Is it the hitting? Is it, I mean, what do the boys got to do to really show up and get this first win?
Yeah, we worry about ourselves. I do go scout. I was able to send someone to watch them play. They actually had to play for a district championship against Sweeney. We're playing Needville, but they were playing Sweeney the same night we were playing Sinton at our place. So I had a guy go watch them, and he came back with some information. And then I actually went Monday, because of all the rain this weekend, I was able to go watch Needville. And so I came back with all these notes and everything, and I read them, and I did all this. And, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go and tell all the kids what I have, because I want them to be worried about what they need to do. I tell them every day at practice. Practice is like your homework. You're gonna do all the drills. You're gonna do all the hitting drills. You're gonna do all the defensive work we do. When we play the game, that's your test. You're either gonna pass the test or you're gonna fail the test. And so if you're not prepared for the test, you're not gonna do good. But if you're prepared, all you can do is achieve what you can do. I tell them that all the time. And I try to tell them what you do is what the Pirates do is what the Pirates do. And so today was a really good day of practice, because we were able to get on a turf field. We went to Portland and had practice today, and we did nothing but defense. And so we learned some things. Hey, balls in the gap, you can slide over there to get it because it's turf. Get your body in front of it. Hey, it's a long throw. Use the turf to use the bounces. Don't try to throw it over their heads. And I try to emulate those kind of things, and they understand and they listen. And so when we come into this one, they know, hey, we're going into a series, which means Friday is a very important game, because you want to be up 1-0. You don't want to go into Saturday down by 1 and have to play 2 games in a row, because anybody playing 2 games in a row is going to be hard. Yeah. And so, we're looking forward to it, because I feel like we have enough arms that we're going to be able to win a series. And so the boys know that, and they know the rotation. They know who's going to go in and pitch, and they know what's going to happen. And I just tell them, I said, your test is on Friday and Saturday, and let's roll. So going into this one, it's exciting. It's exciting for the boys to be in the playoffs. It's fun, and I'm a football guy. I love football as much as I love baseball. And so they know how to win in the playoffs. They know how to bring the new energy, because they know this is a new season. It don't mean nothing about what we did in pre-district or district or tournaments or anything. This is, you win or you go home. And that's what's so fun about playoffs, is because now it's a new season, and now you're playing kids you don't know who they are. You don't know what they do on their time. And I tell them all the time, they're probably working just as hard as you, so you better be ready. So, I'm excited about the challenge, and I'm excited about just being in the playoffs at the same time. But you got to enjoy the ride. You got to enjoy the whole system. And I'm not going to change anything that we're doing just because now it's the playoffs. We're going to continue to do the same thing, because that's what got us here.
Well, I know I know you have a really, really great group of boys. I watched a lot of them grow up from T-ball to where they are now, and just I'm a proud person in the audience watching these guys just grow. I mean, I'm just, you know, you have some great young men playing on that team, and I know they got some big hearts and they work hard. You know, I've coached some of them in football and in some of them in baseball when they were younger, and they just got some great work ethic, and I know that they work hard. And just again, congratulations and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Johnny, got any questions for Coach Tootie?
Well, he's been answering a lot of my questions. I'm going to go back to years back for you, back in your playing days. What's the most memorable game that you played in?
Oh man. The most memorable game I probably played in was when I went to college. I actually went to Del Mar for 2 years, and I knew some guys that knew a guy that could start a team there. And so we actually started a team at Del Mar. We were called the Del Mar Vikings. And so we filled in when Laredo Junior College didn't have a game, or we went down to UTB and played Brownsville. We ended up going up to Oklahoma a couple of games. And so I still remember we played a team out of Oklahoma at A&M Kingsville, and I started in right field. And of course, there were some guys there, and you know, we had a good time. Guys from Robstown, guys from Portland, guys from Carroll, and I still remember, you know, I threw a guy out at home. He tried to run from second home, and I threw him out, and we were all excited. And I remember coming back into the dugout, and I was up to bat, and I was so excited and pumped up from throwing the guy out at home that I ended up swinging at the first pitch, and I hit it to the fence, and I do remember getting a double. And so I just remember that energy, the energy and the vibe of just feeding off of a play and then coming in and just keep it just going. And I've always heard it on TV, you know, when they say those guys are in the zone and they're on top of the world in the clouds. I can say I was there once, and I always tell myself that's what it feels like to continue to have that going on, because you really can't describe it. You can't describe that moment, but you will always remember those. And so that was a memorable game. And actually after that game, the coach from Oklahoma, it was like, I can't remember it was a D2. I do remember him asking me to go up there and visit and to go play. And it was just exciting. It was an exciting time, and I won't ever forget that game.
That was a great story. That's a great story. I've asked some of the baseball guys about this. I ended it towards the end here. Tell us about this little prank that the softball girls and the baseball team did to each other.
Oh, man. Well, let me tell you how it started. We had either a junior high game or a JV game, and I was about to start dragging the field. And so all the softball girls were over there at our game. And so they were like, Coach, let me drive the Kubota, let me drive it. And I was like, okay. And I showed them how to drag my field. And so they were all out there, and they were having a good time. And I started seeing more and more of them show up. And I'm like, man, what are they, why are they here? Like, this isn't a varsity game. And so they're like, thank you, Coach. Oh, we're excited, whatever. And I was like, okay, see you later. So of course I leave. I don't think anything about what's going to happen the next day. And so I go to work the next day, and Carson Flores says, Coach, did you go look at the baseball field? I was like, no. Of course, I walk over there, and there's forks everywhere on our field. I'm talking everywhere. Me and Coach Madrano got the drone, and we did a drone video and put it on Twitter. And it was exciting because I said, all right, boys. I said, we're going to West Oso tonight. I said, y'all better think of something to do. So, of course, you know, we had a game, in a district game. And so the whole way to the game, they're talking about what they're going to do and when we're going to get home. I said, look, let's win this game first before we start paying any kind of, you know, payback. And so, no, we ended up, the excitement of the whole thing to me was we won the game and we clinched playoffs. So as soon as that game was over, the boys were excited, and Carson pitches a perfect game there at West Oso. And so the water's flying everywhere and everyone's excited. and they got me drenched. And I said, all right, guys, I said, we're good. We won the game. Now let's go get the girls. So, oh my gosh, they were excited. Of course, we get home and it was raining, I think. I can't remember. And the girls were in the cages. And I said, look, guys, I said, you got to do something, but you better not do anything that's going to get me a phone call later on tonight. I said, y'all can have fun with this. And so, no, they had fun. I mean, they had the next day, of course, we had a game against, I can't remember who we had, somebody. And they were just excited. And it was fun. It was fun to be able to have that bond with the girls. And you know, it didn't get ugly and no one got hurt. And you know, we didn't do anything to make the maintenance come and have to clean our fields. You know, if we had to do something, there was glitter all over my dugout, and it was blinged up with little diamond pearls and stuff. And I told the boys, I said, well, now we got a little bit of bling in the dugout. So it was fun, you know, and we both agreed. The funny thing is me and Coach Reyes agreed, okay, Sunday night, it's the last night. I said, because we got 2 meaningful games. You know, I think the girls had Ingleside and Sinton that week, and we had Beeville and Ingleside, and we had to win both to get, you know, the 3rd seed. So no, and it was all squared away, and the kids enjoyed it. I thought that was a good little icebreaker, you know, because the season does get long, you know, and me and Coach Reyes talk about this all the time. You know, it can get to the point where, oh, it's hot. Oh, we're doing the same thing again. Oh, this and this. And that, I think that brought a little excitement to both sides, and it made them bond a little bit. And I think that's a vibe that I like, because we were able to feed off of them. You know, the boys went to the district clincher for the girls, and they were all in the outfield, and I showed up, and they were just excited, you know, and I told them, I said, this is what we need, you know. We'll do this when we win district, you know, look how exciting it is, and look how many people are here. And so, you know, it's a good vibe, because then the girls congratulate the boys and the boys congratulate the girls. And you always want that at a school. You know, you always want them to be like a team, you know, and I always call them our sisters across the street, because, you know, we're across the street from each other. So anytime you see a tweet on Twitter about, you know, the boys across the street give you congratulations. So I like the way we have good chemistry together.
Yeah, the kids had fun with that. Everybody talked about it. They all had fun about it. All these podcasts we had, I just liked all hearing back details. I wanted to go deep into what was going on. That's all I have.
All right, Coach, I got one more question for you. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about your 2 seniors on the ball club, which was Nick Pena and Samuel Mays. And so, you know, we had a couple of your players last week on the podcast, and we talked, and they said these guys are playing according to the players, right? They're playing a big part as far as their leadership goes to the freshmen and to the underclassmen. Just kind of wanted to get your take on what you see as far as the leadership role that Sam and Nick have played for your team to get you to into the playoffs. What role are they playing to help develop the younger talent that we have on the team?
Yeah, they play a huge role in this team. You know, they both had brothers in the programs, so I think that kind of helped. You know, Gabriel had Nick, who graduated last year, and Sammy had Michael, who graduated, I think, 3 years ago. And so when you see the way they were when they were seniors, and then you become the senior, you know, I give them free reign, you know, and I tell them, hey, you're my dude, you're my guy. You know, you go tell him that he needs to do this, or, hey, he's not hustling, he's not going to listen to us, or he thinks he's going to get away with it. You better go get him before we get on him. So halfway through the season, you know, I could see Nick and Sam kind of taking leadership. You know, I give them a 5-minute break. You know, we get done throwing, we get done stretching, you know, and before we get started on our thing, I give them a 5-minute break. And then at the beginning of the year, you know, it was 5 minutes. And then I would say, all right, let's go. It's time to go. And then we get out of the dugout. Halfway through the season, it started becoming Sam and Nick saying, boys, let's go. It wasn't even 5 minutes anymore. It was maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So when you get 2 senior leaders, when you get leadership like that, it makes it easier as a coach, because the schedule's on the dugout already. So as soon as they know what the schedule is, boom, we're rolling. And so I've seen it in games where they take leadership. and they get the younger kids to get involved and to do this. And to me, it's tough to lose any senior in a team, because they are the glue that brings them together. And when you have a young team like we do, you got to have guys like that. Y'all know that, you played sports where the older guys have to get those young guys on board, because once those young guys don't get on board, they can either, create a division on the team that really doesn't gel well. And then you start to slip and fall. And if you have guys like, Nick and Sam that can come from them instead of me, the sky's the limit. And so I think that's why we rolled. I think the boys respect them, and I think they listen to them. And that's all you want. All you want is some good leaders to be able to control the team. And I tell them all the time, this is your team. I'm here to help you. I'm here to keep you on schedule and to know what to do. But this is y'all's team, and I tell them that all the time.
Well, Coach, I mean, like I said, I watched a couple of your games this year, and one thing that has come to my mind when I watched them is that they seem to play like free spirited, right? Like you didn't go on a 4, 5, 6 game losing streak. I mean, throughout the season, they would lose a big one, and then you see the next game in the tournament and they win a big one. I think they would lose 2 and then they'd win 1, or they'd win 2. They didn't go on this 4 or 5 game just on a losing streak. And when I watched them play, it almost seems to me like we're not supposed to be here, but we're going to show everybody that we're going to make it. It just seems like they don't have a worry in the world. They're playing free, and nobody expects us to do anything, but we're going to do it anyway. And it's been fun to watch them with that young talent and seeing them develop this year, getting into the playoffs. And that's going to really help them develop next year. But like I said, we're excited because in the few games that I've seen, man, it's going to be fun. This year in the playoffs, you got a 3-game series, right? The big one coming on Friday. I'll definitely be there on Saturday to watch, hopefully just the second game, and we'll advance to the second round. But, Coach, I just want to say thank you for taking some time to come on to the Parsco podcast. I know you're busy getting ready for the playoff, but I do appreciate you coming in and answering some of our questions and just kind of getting to know and put our baseball team out there for the community, let them know what's going on, the young talent that we have, because they need to come out and check out our boys, because it's exciting. And it's exciting for them when they can see on social media, when you post something, people are liking it. I tell people, like it, man, like it. Make good luck. Congratulations goes a long ways. These boys see it. The girls see it, right? And then when you go out and play a game, and like on that last regular season game, and I mean, it's just packed, it's exciting, right? To come out. It's a big game. So we're going to wish you here on the Pirates Cove. We're going to, wish you luck, you and the boys this weekend. We're going to come back with the win, and we're going to go into the second round, Coach. And so I really appreciate you coming in and giving us some of your time. I'm going to give you the final word, Coach, but I'm going to ask the guys if they've got anything else that they've got to say before we call it a night. So, Tony, I'll pass it over to you. You got any final thoughts? Anything you want to say to Coach before we call it a night?
I just want to say thanks for coming on. Good luck to the boys and the girls and the athletes that are competing at the state track meet. I mean, we got a lot going on this week, but just again, thanks for coming on and good luck.
Johnny?
I really don't, but something just popped in my head. You don't have any, I've been asking this many times. You don't have any pull as far as getting more of those hats in?
These right here?
Yeah, apparently you wiped out Mara's.
The thing is, I've always been a guy that wants the same hat. And so I've gotten more compliments about this hat. And so I think what I'm going to do from now on, as long as I'm the head coach, is we're going to make these hats. We're going to leave them the same. We're not going to change them up. We're going to go with the green and the white. And I'm just going to order some more. And as soon as I get some more, I'll for sure hook you 3 guys up for sure.
I got one.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I got one. It's just I get asked many times, man,
yeah.
Where'd you get it? I go, well, somebody wiped out Mara's.
Well, the thing was, I went to Mara's, and they had them on for half off. And I was like, oh, let me have them all. So I grabbed them as many as I could, because I knew I was going to have to get some more, because we did them last year. And so I gave them out. And then, of course, I told the boys, hey, if you have last year's, you can use last year's. And they were like, no, coach, we want a new one. So, of course, they got new ones this year. So, and I like the way it has all the colors. I like the green. I like the white. I like the gold and the black with the Texas. It just shines. And when you see this hat, it's Rockport-Fulton. There's no other team that has the RF like we do right now. And I like that, So.
Well, Coach, I can say I'm definitely I want one. I don't have one of those, so I definitely want one. I think Tony and I want one too if we don't have one. Coach, I'll give you the final thought before I kind of give some information on the playoffs. Anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Yeah, I just want to say I just want to say thank you to the parents. The boys have been extremely awesome. They grind and they work. When I got here 7 years ago, never did I think I would become the head baseball coach. Never. I came because me and Coach Seibert had a pretty good bond where we kind of had the same vibe of what we need to do to bring to a program. And so when he gave me the opportunity to become the head coach again, I was on board, and I think it comes from taking over a program and having parents who believe in you and understand that baseball and that you can bring the best out of their kid. And so I want to thank the parents for allowing me to do that. And also my staff, Coach Chuy Vela, he's awesome. He does my pitching, and Coach Jonathan Mash, he does my catchers, and of course we all do the hitting, we all do the infield, we all do outfield. But just being able to have a good staff it can bring the best out of your whole team. And so I just want to thank them. And I thank all the people who support us, just the softball girls, the softball parents, the community, just like Tony said, he's known them since they were smaller, and I think that's what brings Rockport success, is to have people that don't have a kid in the program, but understand where the kids come from and what they do. And I've bought in. I bought in the first minute I came to Rockport. I bought into the program and I bought into what the community brings to the system. And so I think that's why the success has always been in Rockport, because it's not only the kids and their parents, it's the grandparents, it's the alumni, it's the administration. They're all on board. They're all on board with what once a Pirate, always a Pirate stands for. And I appreciate letting people that I see people and they congratulate me for what I did. And honestly, it's the kids. I'm just there to, like I said, I'm just there to put the lineup in. I think it comes from the kids and what they want to do to be proud Pirates. And I just want to thank them. And I think, the community and you three guys, what you bring to the board, you bring things that will always be part of Rockport-Fulton Pirates programs, and not just one program, all of them. And so I just want to say thank you to you three and for allowing me to get on y'all's podcast and just tell y'all how the boys are extremely proud of what you guys do for them too. And I'm pretty sure that they don't want to disappoint you, because they know you were former Pirates, and so they want to just live up to that name. And like you said, once a Pirate, always a Pirate.
Absolutely. And, Coach, I'll end it with this. One thing, when I was in school, we were good in certain sports. In other sports, we struggled. We were a 4A school. We were playing GP and those schools that were bigger. Sometimes we were getting beat, But here, this last couple of years, it's not just the football. This community gets really excited about football. There's a big following in football. It's been like that for years, right? But if you look at where the football team has been in the last 7 or 8 years, playoffs, third round 3 times, we've been knocking on that door. I mean, we're right there getting into that 4th round, right? And look at our volleyball team. They've been in the playoffs. Our basketball girls, 20-game win streak, winning district. Our boys basketball, they've been district champs, and they've been in the playoffs last couple of years. The girls are ranked number 1 in softball. Our soccer boys and girls in the playoffs. Look at the 2 qualifiers. I mean, we're excelling everywhere. I mean, and it's been like that for years. And that's a lot of credit to the coaches that we have. It starts with our head guy, Coach Seibert, obviously, putting the program in, and then all of the assistants working, because I think you have to be able to try to reach the players. And like you said earlier, they've got to buy into the system to be successful. And whatever we're doing, it's working. The players, every sport is basically succeeding, and it's great in the community to see that. And there's a lot of support, and that's what the Pirates Code wants to do. Let them know this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. Interviewing the kids to let them come on so that they can talk about their experience here at Rockport and what's happening, and get excited and bring this crowd out to the games, because I know it excites the coaches and it excites the players, and on social media, using our platforms in a positive way so they can see all the support. This goes a long ways. If I was playing and I saw that, boy, I mean, let's get it. Let's take on anybody. I'm ready to go. Yeah. You want to win for yourself and your team, but you want to win for your community, right? So it's just great. And what you guys are doing is coaches up there, it's greatly appreciated. And we want to bring in more coaches to be able to interview, to show our community what kind of program we have here at Rockport, Coach. So once again, I say thank you very much for coming out and taking some time to talk to us. I just would like to say that the Rockport-Fulton Pirate baseball team will be in the first round of the playoffs. It'll be in Victoria. It'll be at Riverside Stadium. They'll play Friday. One game. I think it's at 6, Coach. Is that correct? 6?
6:30.
6:30.
6:30.
And then 6:30 on Friday, and then they'll come back for game number 2. I think that's at 3:00. I don't have it written down, but I think it's 3:00.
Yes, sir.
And if there needs to be and if there needs to be a game 3, a final decision, a final game, that'll be played 30 minutes after game 2 on Saturday. Hopefully we won't need it. We'll take it in 2, but come on out, support the Pirates. Let's get this first round win, Coach. And then let's advance to the second round. I'll be there on Saturday. We'll be supporting you. The Pirates Cove will be there. And so once again, good luck. And we will see you on Saturday at the game.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Coach.
April.
Coach, are you still there? Okay. So, Tony, are you still there?
Yeah.
All right. So, we're going to continue with the podcasting. We're not going to stop it because on the second part, we go down and we start breaking down the games. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about our softball and our baseball team. And just like I said earlier, our baseball team will be traveling to Victoria on Friday at 6:30. They'll have their first game against Needville. It's going to be a really good game. And then, of course, Saturday, they play game 2. And if there needs to be a decisive game 3, it'll be played 30 minutes after that. So the Pirate boys will be in Victoria this weekend. Hopefully we can get that win and get our boys into the second round. I want to thank Coach Arturo Elizondo for taking some time out of his busy schedule to come on the Pirates Cove and just kind of talk a little bit about his team and what they're doing, and kind of let the community know a little bit about our head man there at baseball. And Tony and Johnny, I'm really excited about where these boys are going. We've already arrived, like Johnny says, and we have, but where we can go and it's gonna be a fun ride, because this is a very young Tony, as you talked about. These guys better than we do because you've coached them and you've been around them pretty much, and you know the type of athletes they are. And so it's just exciting to see where our baseball team and where our softball team is this year, and where we're going to continue to go in the next couple of years. And so, Johnny, I'll pass it over to you now. And are you ready to talk a little bit of softball?
Sure.
All right.
We're gonna back it up some, since we kind of lost track of last week's podcast. I'm gonna go back to the Sinton game. Sinton game was I wouldn't say a meaningless game because we already clinched the playoffs, we already clinched the district. But in these girls' minds, this was more than just a regular district game. I mean, like we mentioned many times that growing up, so these kids were these seniors and Sinton had, since they were little kids, when they start playing the All-Stars, they just alternated district champions. It was just back and forth. So these these two teams competed since they were little kids. So this was a big matchup for them, and they never swept sitting back in the past for a whole season. So this was big. Rockport came up on top on this one, 4-0, which was a lot better outing than the first game around. Sierra Galvan went 7 innings, giving up 3 hits, no runs. She had 13 strikeouts and 0 walks. I'm loving this 0 walks kind of thing. The team overall had 10 hits. Peyton Martinez, Crystal Kutaj, and Elena Garcia both went 2 for 3. Peyton had also 2 stolen bases, and Elena had 1 stolen base. And I'm loving these stolen bases because this is showing aggressiveness, and this is what we're going to need in the playoffs. We can't just rely on just bunts. I mean, these two are huge in, as far as bats play bases on their own. Our big inning came in the the 5th inning. I mean, we're at 0-0 going to that 5th inning. I mean, this was getting like one of those games where like, oh, we're going to go extra innings, going 0-0 all the way. But we got 3 runs in the 5th inning, which opened it up for us. Overall, our team had no errors. I mean, this is another great thing going into the playoffs. You don't want to commit those errors. I mean, one error could lose a ball game 1-0. That could be it. Man, just this atmosphere was just great for that sitting game. I mean, the crowd, I've never seen such a big crowd. There was people sitting around the whole entire fence, and we seen trucks out there line up. But this night, you know, you had 2 deep trucks. I mean, two rows of trucks parked behind each other. I mean, this is just great out there. I mean, what more can you rub it in the face, sit in his face, and popping fireworks at the very end of the game? I mean, that was just rub it in your face kind of thing, you know. So that was I love that. I love that. Now I talked so much about sitting, you know, we swept them, but hey, there is another chance that we could face them again. There's no doubt that it could possibly happen again. So I wouldn't just scratch out sitting for the rest of the season. So we got to kind of watch out for that. This led us into the playoffs. Our first game was against Brazosport over in Palacios over in Tidehaven. We won 14-0. We only played 5 innings a game that game, but we kind of struggled a little bit. But Sierra Galvan and Jordan Hall combined for a 1-hit shutout. They both combined for 8 strikeouts, gave up only 1 walk combined. The team had 14 hits. Maddie Mann led the team going 3 for 4, 2 runs scored, 6 RBIs, and 1 home run. Like I said, we had a slow start. You know, we're only up 1-0 going to that 3rd inning. We had a good 3rd inning. Came that 4th inning, we scored 7 runs, and it just came wide open. I mean, these girls got comfortable. Again, you know, the defense scored no errors. I mean, I'm loving this. You know, I'm loving these no errors, which brought us back to game 2, which is kind of like we had to switch venues over to Beeville. I had a feeling that's where we're going to end up going because of the turf and there's better drainage and stuff like that. And so I kind of figured that was where the game was going to go. This game went to 6 innings. Sierra came up with the win, going to the full 6, giving up only 1 hit, no runs. She had 8 strikeouts, and again, no walks. And overall, the team had 10 hits. Peyton Martinez and Elena Garcia both went 2 for 3. Peyton had 2 runs scored, an RBI, 1 walk, and 1 stolen base, while Elena came out with an RBI. Again, we're having those big innings. I'm loving this. We had a 5-run 3rd inning. I mean, we're 0-0 going to that 3rd inning. I mean, I guess I'm a little worried, but you know, when we come alive, you know, we're putting that game away, and that's what I love. Just cheering loud. You know, let's put this game away. You know, we're pretty anticipating that 10-run rule as the game was going on. One thing I found out that in softball regular season, there is a 15-run rule after 3 innings. Found out that the playoffs, there is no 15-run after 3 innings. So you have to complete a whole 5 innings for a 10-run rule, pretty much. So a lot of games were out there in the state were pretty blown out there, you know, because again, there is no 15-run rule, you know. So this game where we're kind of anticipating the 10-run rule, you know, going into that 6th inning. And my own daughter, out of all things, you know, she went in there. Her job was just to advance the runners to scoring position have runner first or second, and she lays down a bunt. And that third baseman, I don't know what she was thinking, but she grabbed up. The entire game, this third baseman was the best athlete on her team, obviously. We had shots. All of our hitters were hitting shots to her, line drives, ground balls, line drives. She was diving for balls on a line drive, catching them. And, I kind of jokingly said it to her. I was all like, hey, why don't you come join our team over here? And she looked at me. She gave me a grin, which I kind of laughed about it. But it was kind of sad at the end of the game. The game was out of hand, but, for her to grab it and throw it to first base, not her fault. You get it. If the player's not there, it's not her fault pretty much, that second baseman should have been there. She threw it out there and just rolled all the way down the right field corner, which gave up the 2 runs that gave it the 10 runs. And my daughter ran it around third base, decided just to go home. Our third base coach pretty much walked off. It was a walk-off, pre-walk, and she didn't know what to do. She turned around and she just decided to run all the way home. That's the thing about our lineup is like anybody in that lineup can just go in there and do their job. And as I like to say many times, like you put that ball into play, things happen. You can't do much when you're like swinging and not hitting the ball. But as long as you put that ball in play, anything can happen. So that's a lot of things I like going into, which brings it up to our Livonia game, our area round. We're at 25-1 going against Livonia, who is 14-16-1. The only thing I got from this is like I think our offense is pretty well going to take over this game. They're giving up. They're not giving up a lot of runs, but their pitching staff's not as strong as ours. They're giving up almost 7 points a game, and we're only giving up 0.8 points a game. Not even a point a game, our average. So overall, I think we got this one. Not going to say confident. The only thing I have nervous about is a 1-game series, but I think this round we'll pretty well seal this one. I'm pretty confident about this one. Livonia had a tough one with Wimberley. Livonia was going into the top of the 6th against Wimberley the previous game. They were up 3-1. I thought Livonia was going to just take it over. Well, Wimberley came back to take the lead at the top of the 7th inning, 4-3, and Livonia tied it at the bottom of the 7th inning, which would win extra innings. So when Wimberley went up 3 more runs, I was like, that's it. We're going to face Wimberley. But here comes Livonia just pounding away. Apparently they got some hits too, some bats on their side. They took the win at the bottom of the 8th inning, scored 4 runs. So hey, Livonia, you can't let them down. They're going to come out swinging. They could score some runs, So our next round of the playoffs, if we win this one, would be between the winner of Sweeney and Bernie. That was going to be played Thursday, so we're kind of going to know already who we're going to play by the time our game comes around. Nothing much changed on the coaches poll as far as state rankings. We still got Rockport number 1, Iowa Park number 2, Smithville number 3, Melissa number 4, and Paris North Lamar at number 5. Now the Max Prep, we still haven't changed in the top 3, but Callan has squeaked into the top number 4 spot, which I think that's where they belong. I'm surprised that Callan's not in the top 10 in the coaches poll. But hopefully, we get something out of this. There's a lot of games, head-on games, which I'm just gonna put up on Pirates Cove about the head-on games as far as the area, the district games. Teams are still in the area, and I'm gonna put up the state rankings teams out there. I'll just post that on the Pirates Cove and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be nice. Can you hear me, Johnny?
Yeah.
Okay. Something happened where you can't see me on the screen. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but you can hear me, right?
Correct.
All right. So, listen. Let's go back to the Sinton game. It was exciting. It was pumped up. We knew Sinton wanted to come in and beat Rockport. It didn't matter. Everything was already set right, but this is for pride, right? These teams had been going at it, so Sinton was going to come in wanting to prove. They had a lot to prove. You beat Rockport in their field. You throw them out of that number 1 ranking. There was a lot to play for. They were already in the playoffs, but we want to beat this team. They felt like they had it in the game at their house, and Rockport was able to to sneak it out at the very end. So it was, I'm sure it hurt them. They lost a game that they felt they had. They're pretty much in control of the whole game, right? So then they come in. Rockport knew that they were going to come in. They knew they wanted to beat them, and the girls wanted to sweep them too. They wanted to win that. The district had already been won, but they wanted to go in there and they wanted to prove, they wanted to go, that undefeated record meant something to them. And so they were able to take the win. Sierra was, again, she was dominant like she's been pretty much the whole season. And they were able to get that win. And that's good momentum, going undefeated, going into that first playoff round against Brazosport, which I thought was interesting. They didn't even score a run in 2 games. I mean, 14-0, 11-0. If you look at the fielding and the way that we played, and we've been playing here as of late, it's been awesome. I mean, that shortstop and third baseman with Kelsey at third and Maddie at short, man, they just charge that ball, man, and it's just a good little shot there to first base, and we get them out. It seems like our fielding on the other side, Kimberlyn and Crystal, the outfield, they have that speed out there with Emma and Peyton and what is it, Elena, right? I said her name right, Elena. And so it's just the fielding has just been at another level, and of course Sierra continues to dominate like she's been doing all season. We know what Mike is going to do at catcher, and then you talked about the hitting came in that second go around in district where Maddie got real hot. I mean, she's been hitting grand slams, home runs. And now we're starting to see Elena get on base, Peyton get on. I mean, it's starting to click. Hopefully, they're clicking at the right time. And then, of course, what's really exciting is the base running. I mean, we've seen Elena hit it to second base, and before that second base, we can pick it up and throw it. She's across the bag. So we've got the speed. They're being aggressive on the bases, which is stuff that you're going to need when you get up in this competition. You're talking about Lavernia, and you get into that third round, and Rockport gets there, right? You play Bernie or Sweeney, the competition starts to get a little tougher, right? But I really like where our girls are the way that they're playing right now, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. And we've had them, Johnny and Tony, on this podcast where they talk about the chemistry. They basically almost say the same thing. The leadership is there with our seniors, the way they've approached the game, and the way they help these younger girls develop their game. When they get down, they get a strikeout. These seniors come and they talk to them and they keep your head up. We still got a game to play. I think all this plays big in the success that we're having. And these girls are talking about that leadership, and then you've got some of these girls we talked about where Lauren Kelly comes back, a girl that played here at Rockport with our softball program, and she's coming back and just being able to help these girls develop the game. You're seeing it all on the field, and it just seems like we're clicking at the right time, and we need to because the competition will get tougher as we continue to advance in the playoffs. So I'm excited about where we're going, and I love the way that we're playing at this time. And we're going to need to continue to play it, continue to play this way, and even get stronger. But those are aggressive base runners. We're going to need that because it's going to be harder to get a run here and a run there as we continue to advance in the playoffs. So it's great. Johnny, do you have anything as far as the averages? Who's leading the stolen bases and stuff? Were we able to do that?
I didn't get into that this time.
Okay. All right. Not a problem. And so, like I said, the girls are going to be playing. It's a 1-game a series on Friday. It'll be in Beeville. Game starts at 7. Johnny, is that correct?
Yes.
7. So come on out to Beeville. There was a great crowd in game 2 at Beeville. So come on out. Let's make a lot of noise. Let's cheer our girls on. We need to get past the second round and get into that third round. So come on out at Beeville on Friday at 7. The girls will be, whoever wins that game will advance into the third round. Our baseball boys are also in the playoffs. We had Coach Arturo Elizondo, the head baseball man here at Rockport, spent some time with us. His team will be in Victoria. It'll be the first round. They'll be playing Needville. Game 1 is set for Friday, and then game 2 is set for Saturday. And if they need a game 3 to decide the series, it'll be played 30 minutes after game number 2. Also, we want to wish good luck to our 2 Rockport-Fulton Pirate athletes, state qualifiers, Mikey Dominguez and George Marble. They were on the podcast yesterday. They're up in Austin right now. They'll be competing. I don't know the time that they'll be competing, but Mikey is we're going to be competing the pole vault and George the 300-meter hurdle. So we want to wish them luck and hope they can bring back the gold. As Tony said, it's a busy weekend for Rockport with going up there to state, 2 of our athletes, and then our softball having a second round playoff, and our boys having their first round playoff. So pick and choose which team you want to follow, but also, when we post stuff up, a good luck, a like, let these kids know that the community supports them. We want to bring the goal back. And of course, we want to advance to the next round in baseball and in softball. And so, Johnny, thank you for doing what you do, bringing down and breaking down kind of where our softball girls are at. And I know you're going to be posting some stuff up on the Pirates Cove. So for the community, be looking out for that. I don't know if it'll be done tonight or tomorrow, but it's going to come up on the Pirates Cove. So before we call it a night, I'll give the final words to you guys. Tony, anything you want to say? Tony is part of Cove. He does our football. He'll be on weekly with us when we get started next year with football. But you want to come on. We want him to come on, kind of see how we're doing things here with the baseball and softball to the end of the season. But you'll be seeing a lot of Tony when the football season comes up in August, maybe even on the 7-on-7, I'm sure. But he'll be definitely on the Pirates Cove every Wednesday when football and volleyball season starts. Tony, anything you want to add before we call it a night?
No, I pretty much said what I needed to say when we interviewed Coach Elizondo. But just one more time, whether they're able to stream the the UIL state meet or watch, go out and support the boys or the girls. I mean, it's we do this because we really want the community to get behind our athletes and our school, and I know they have in a big way, as Coach said. But just let's just show them how proud we are, and leave a like, leave a comment, just wish them luck, like Gabriel said. It's a big deal. It's the athletic program this year and this past few years has really just flourished. And it's just exciting. It's exciting time, it's exciting era for the Pirates and Pirate Nation. So just shout out to the coaches and everything that you're doing, and the students for just putting in the work. The student athletes just putting in the work and just grinding every day and getting it done and just really excelling at what you're doing. Just it's just like I said, it's just a great time, great era to be a Pirate. Just good luck to everyone competing this week.
Absolutely. Johnny, final thoughts?
Pretty much what Tony said. I mean, this is a big week. Now we got Thursday track, Friday softball, baseball, Saturday baseball. Like, hey, this is busy. This is a great time to be a Pirate. So hopefully, the baseball team pulls them out. They're going to play the winner of Gonzales and Canyon Lake. So that's hopefully next on their list. I think they'll. I don't know much about these other teams in baseball, but the way these boys play, I think they can get to the third round. Beyond that, it's air ball. But I see the fight in these boys. And hey, this is going to be a great ending for the season for everybody.
Absolutely. And I would just add before we call it a night is these videos will be uploaded. So this video will be uploaded tonight around maybe 11 o'clock or so, and it'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And then it's shared over to our Twitter and Facebook page. So what you do is go to Coast to Coast Sports. And, if you like the video, if you like the podcast and the interviews that we're doing with the coaches and the players, become a subscriber. We're doing this every Wednesday. We're picking up other stuff. We're going to start getting busy. Hopefully we're going to be able to cover some 7-on-7. We're still kind of putting all that together. But if you like what we're doing, become a subscriber, support the podcast. Like I said, you go to YouTube, you go Coast, the number 2, Coast, so Coast to Coast Sports. Become a subscriber, and then you can get into our Pirates Cove playlist and our interviews that have to do with the Pirates Cove, interviewing the coaches, the players, and so forth. It goes anything that's to do with Pirate sports. It'll be there on the Pirates Cove. And there's also 2 other playlists that we're working on. We do have a 365 Sports Unlimited, and then we also have a Gridiron 64 that just deals with Texas football. So it's exciting. But once again, if you just become a subscriber and go to Coast Sports. And so, Johnny, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast. I had fun interviewing and talking to Coach Tudy Elizondo, the head baseball coach here at Rockport. And then, of course, the 2 sidekicks that joined me on the podcast, Johnny Zavala, the Z-Man, and Tony Pena, who you'll be seeing more of on Wednesdays here at the Pirates Cove. Again, it was fun, guys. Thank you for spending some time with us. We will be back next Wednesday. Hopefully, we will be talking about the 3rd round for the girls and the 2nd round for the boys. And we'll be bringing Mikey and George back on with their gold. But hopefully, we'll see. We'll stay tuned and see what happens with our athletes up in Austin. But until then, guys, like we do it here on the Pirates Cove every Wednesday. Peace out. Have a good night, guys. And we will talk to you guys later.
All right. Good night.